Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric, and I have a new theme park battle today, Walt Disney World vs Universal Orlando Resort. However, as you saw in the title, I am just comparing rides. It is nearly impossible to truly compare these two for the better thing, as there are different numbers of parks, different demographics, it's hard to do. So I am just taking rides that I think are fairly similar in either theme or just design, what they really are, and I'm deciding which ones I think are better overall. Is gonna be a winner at the end? Sure, but it's not determining which park is definitely better. I'm just comparing some rides and giving my thoughts. I'm just kind of giving some mini reviews of rides. And I should also notice a disclaimer, you will definitely disagree with some. So I understand that some of my opinions are very controversial, and I know some will be very mad about that. But keep in mind, it's just based on my experiences, my preferences, my tastes. It's all entirely dependent on that. I know some will be mad about it, but I will try my best to explain good reasoning for why I think certain rides are better. Now, let's compare some rides. Ironically, the first matchup is between the two rides that are probably the least similar, Haunted Mansion and Forbidden Journey. I thought the themes were kind of similar and both are really good, and this is a tough call. I think Forbidden Journey is more impressive ride technology, but I think Haunted Mansion is aged better overall due to less screens, and I think it's also a longer ride and it's a bit more of a story to it, and you don't have to be a fan of any franchise to truly appreciate, so I will be giving Haunted Mansion the first points. Now for some alien shooting rides, Buzz Lightyear and Men in Black. Some may think this is a runaway, I love both rides. I think Buzz Lightyear's cheap style is quite fun. That said, Men in Black is a lot more detailed, it's better, has more going on in the queue, better shooting system because you can really hold the guns up. I think it's definitely the better ride. That means it's 1-all. Now, indoor launch coasters, Rock and Roller Coaster and Revenge of the Mummy. Revenge of the Mummy is obviously better themed. Rock and Roller Coaster is more thrilling, sure, though I do prefer Mummy as it's just a really great all-around ride. It's more fun to be on, it's longer, it takes the points. Now for kiddie coasters, Barnstormer and Woody Woodpecker. Barnstormer's theme is kinda bleak, while Woody Woodpecker's is really, really fun. It's just themed of Woody Woodpecker going around, there's some like wooden support things sort of built around the ride. I think it's a really fun kiddie coaster, and it's better than Barnstormer. Now comparing two spinner rides. We have Dumbo and King and Kodos. King and Kodos is definitely better than some Disney spinners, though the queue and the whole charm of Dumbo, yeah, I'm gonna say Dumbo gets this points. Now for tram rides. Very similar in what they aim to do, though very different in quality. People Mover is one of my all-time favorite rides at Magic Kingdom. That said, I don't love the Seuss Trolley train ride. Both have nice views, but one is certainly better than the other. More story, definitely more fun. People Mover wins this points. Now for the log flumes. This is the first really controversial opinion I have. I am giving Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls the point over Splash Mountain. I think the theming is pretty equal in terms of quality on both rides. Maybe a little more impressive on Splash Mountain, but it looks just as nice on both in my opinion. It's really the thrills and the way theming is used for Dudley Do-Right that gives it the points. There's a bit more of a story to it where I actually kind of understood what was going on. Similar stories, but I understood that we were not supposed to like the evil robber guy, whereas the Brer Fox, Brer Bear thing didn't quite catch on the same way. And I think I'm gonna call it facade, for Dudley Do-Right is a lot cooler looking than Splash Mountain, which is a bit odd. And the drops are significantly better on Dudley Do-Right. It mostly comes down to thrills for me. Some will disagree, I know. Please, let me know in the comments how wrong I am about this. I know it sounds like I'm being a jerk by saying Splash Mountain, the iconic ride, is not as good as Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls, but I enjoy it more, and it's my favorite water ride in the world. Splash Mountain is great, but I'm giving the point to Dudley Do-Right. Now for River Rapids, a much less controversial opinion. Popeye is significantly better than Cali. It actually gets you wet, which is what water rides are supposed to do. Cali River Rapids, the theme, while certainly good, is not quite as fun or fully realized as that of Popeye's in my opinion. Popeye is longer, Popeye is a really fun ride. Now for two wacky, awesome dark rides. These are Winnie the Pooh and Cat in the Hat. I don't think they're the most similar, but there are certainly some similarities in them. Both are the kind of thing you might expect to see in Fantasyland, and I'm giving the point to Winnie the Pooh. More charm, more faithful to the source material, and it's a bit more polished in terms of technical presentation. Now for two nostalgic flying dark rides. Peter Pan's Flight and E.T. Adventure. Another controversial one, I much prefer E.T. Peter Pan. Even though when I rode it first, I was 8 years old and a huge fan of the Peter Pan movie, I was kind of bored when I first rode. And now I think it's fine. The ride system is good for sure, but it's short and doesn't tell the story in full, and some of the animatronics aren't that great. It could use an update, I think. While E.T. is aged a lot better, I love the ending where he says your name, and it's a bit more nostalgic even though I didn't really watch the E.T. movie before riding, but I do prefer E.T. overall. Now for some multi-launch family coasters. Hagrid's and Slinky Dog Dash. And, yeah, Hagrid's is going to take this point. Slinky Dog is certainly good, but most would agree that there's a lot more theming on Hagrid. And I think it seems more thrilling overall, and I'm going to be giving it the points. Now for Drop Towers, probably the most one-sided matchup I have. I haven't even been on Tower of Terror, but it wins. Moving on. The Teacups are next. This one, I think Storm Force, you get to spin more, and even though Teacup might be a bit more iconic, I definitely have a lot more fun on Storm Force. I just do. Maybe it's the location of it. I know that may be more iconic for Mad Tea Party, but iconic nature doesn't immediately give the ride the point. Dumbo also had the great queue to go along with. Mad Tea Party doesn't really have that to keep it above Storm Force. Now for carousels, Prince Charming and Carousel. Prince Charming's full size, better views, it's nicer, it's the better ride. Now for the railroads, Walt Disney World Railroad and Hogwarts Express. Hogwarts Express is great for Harry Potter fans. Not too much for others, but great for Harry Potter fans. But I'm going to say the railroad takes you through Splash Mountain and has a lot more theming to it, it's longer. I think it's the better ride. Both are good transportation rides, but I'm going to be giving Walt Disney World this point. Now for two more indoor coasters. These are very different. But while Space Mountain and Gringotts, they're both fine, overall, good even. Space Mountain, I think, is good, though the pitch dark, I think they could use a few more like stars or theming elements like Revenge of the Mummy has. Gringotts, yeah, as a roller coaster, it's not amazing, but if you think of these based on theming, Gringotts absolutely stomps Space Mountain. In terms of thrills, Space Mountain has a bit of an edge, but Gringotts is definitely the ride I prefer. More of a story, more of an experience, more of a ride. So it gets this point. Now for two incredibly different thrilling dark rides. I know I said I was going to compare really similar ones, but I had to go with this. I could have done Jurassic Park against Dinosaur, but I think that's just a very weird comparison. That said, between Dinosaur and Transformers, I like both a lot. Dinosaur is underrated, and Transformers is an awesome ride system. And the ride system is a lot better, and even though I don't think theming is quite as good, I will be giving Transformers the point as it is a bit more immersive overall. Now for two motion simulators, Star Tours and Race Through New York. Star Tours is actually really fun. Race Through New York is saved by its queue. So I'm going to be giving Star Tours this point. Now, two more motion simulators, Soarin' and Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. Even as one who isn't all that into Soarin', it's a lot better than Despicable Me. The queue is worse, but other than that, it's a bit more fun, I think. Alright, now for two more simulators, the best ones in the parks, Flight of Passage and the Simpsons ride. Die-hard Simpsons fan, but the ride's not quite as immersive or queue-themed or mind-blowing as Flight of Passage is, so it is going to be getting the points. Now for two lesser spinner rides, not as good as Jumbo or King of Kodos. One Fish, Two Fish, and Aladdin. Neither one stands out, so I'm going to be giving this a tie. Now, tiebreaker category, final one. These rides are different, but they are probably some of the best rides in their parks. Legendary dark rides Rise of the Resistance and Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my all-time favorite. I haven't been on Rise of the Resistance, Spider-Man is my favorite. But as a Star Wars fan, and given that I've heard so many great things, I think once I go on Rise of the Resistance, even I, a diehard Spider-Man fan, will have to admit that Rise of the Resistance is better. And that means Disney won 12 of these categories, and Universal won 11. So, Disney wins. Not to say it is the definitive better park for Universal fans who may be mad, and I know it's kind of hard to compare these because it's interesting to note that most roller coaster rounds went to Universal, and most rounds that were motion simulators went to Disney. It came down to dark rides mostly, and I think Disney pulled ahead there. And that is how this ended up going. Walt Disney World won these ride categories, and it is the winner of this very weird theme park battle. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope nobody is mad that their favorite ride loss is entirely my opinion and my taste on the rides. Like the video if you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe for more content. I'll see you next time.